Okay, so what I'm going to. All right, okay. So I'm just being disturbed by my daughter. Right, so what we did last session, we looked at very basically cell division. And we're now going to look at something called mitosis. Um, and cell division is really important. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to cover every exam board that possibly exists and the depth to which they go. Um, and depending on how we do for time, I might go through prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Now that's for triple. You're only year 10, so I think it may be clever to leave that till the some point in year 11. So yeah, because we don't have that many lessons. You only have 1 hour of biology a week. So I really wanted to cover cell division and in some depth and really talk about chromosomes, their structure, and those kind of things. So there's a really weird thing, and it was something that kind of perplexed me when I was doing my A levels. Is either year 11 or A levels or something like that. Was when you grow, why don't cells just get bigger? And they can't. It's something called surface area to volume ratio. Cells just cannot get very big. They're actually ridiculously small. And you guys are in year 10. My son now is in year 11. I remember him being in year 10. And, all of a sudden you guys shoot up. You cannot make your cells bigger after a given point. And actually they're really tiny, as I said. You guys grow by making more cells. And the interesting thing in all of this is chromosomes, chromosomal structure, and everything that is related to them. And what I mean by that is I'm actually going to go through the basic idea, basic things that you need to know for eukaryotic cells. Those are cells that are quite complex, like animal, plants, fungi. This is not true for bacteria. Bacteria are not eukaryotes, and you won't be looking at things like chromosomes in this detail in bacteria. So this is eukaryotes, and there are certain cell structures you need to be really familiar with. As I said, this is true for plants, animals, fungi, and the really cool kingdom Protoctista or Protists. We'll look at them in more detail as we progress through GCSE Biology. However, to look at cell division, you've got to understand that 1, it's for eukaryotes. 2, what are the basic structures that you should have in mind? 1 is the nucleus. Some people call it the brain of the cell. I don't like that term. Some people say it holds genetic material. I even don't like that term. I like precision. Nucleus contains, the nucleus contains genetic information. I really don't like that either. I like the fact that it contains DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's very interesting. All of us contain mitochondria. All right. This is where aerobic respiration happens. All right. Aerobic, the need for oxygen. So that's where that happens. Cytoplasm is this like liquidy stuff inside your cell where all your chemical reactions occur. Ribosomes, these make proteins. Now, I want to be clear about this when we talk about proteins. Some proteins are obvious, like the protein in your hair. You think, oh, that's all right. The protein in muscles, yeah, okay, I kind of get that. However, when I'm talking about proteins, I'm also talking about enzymes. All your enzymes are actually proteins. And enzymes are tiny little machines that carry out all the functions inside you. Then you have a cell membrane. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the cell. All right, and there's something really interesting. I was discussing this with year 13 last night, and something I found very interesting. And when we talk about largest to smallest, and I take these PowerPoint presentations that I made for year 10, and I get rid of all the rubbish that I think is really irrelevant. So we go from a cell, and then we get to the nucleus. From the nucleus, we get to a chromosome. The chromosome is made of DNA, and a small part of your DNA is a gene. All right. And this is us zooming in. And you'll notice a couple of things. All right. Here's a cell. Here's a nucleus. my nucleus looks different. Your nucleus normally looks like just a grey shaded area. But when it's just about to divide, it condenses, it shrinks down, your DNA shrinks down into chromosomes. Your chromosomes are made of DNA, and there's small sections of gene. You have a gene for every single thing. And we're like, right. You have a gene for, now if you watch me very carefully, you have a gene for tongue rolling. Right? That's genetic. Right? Rolling your tongue. Either you can or you can't. If you can't, you never will be able to. All right? There's a gene for being left-handed and right-handed. So here's an interesting one. So if you get your hands and you gently clasp them like this, you see there. There's a gene for which way around you do it. So if I just open my hands and shift it slightly, oh, that feels weird. Oh my God, that feels so strange. And you can try it. It feels weird. There's a gene for everything. There's a gene for your personality. There's a gene for your voice. There's a gene for your height. There's a gene for, how strong you're going to be. There's a gene for every single thing that makes you you. And what's interesting is every single cell that you have, except your gamete cells, except for your cells for reproduction, like egg or sperm, except for them, and we're not going to talk about them until we get to meiosis, but in normal cell division, in mitosis, every one of your cells contains all the information to make you you. Right? And that for me is amazing. So in a little spittle, drop of spit, there are approximately 1,000 cells from the inside of your cheek. They're called cheek cells. In each cell, there's a nucleus, and each nucleus is all the information that makes you you. And during cell division, you must replicate it and split it. So your cell cycle is like this. Most of the time, 90% of the time, your cell is not replicating, it's just growing. It's doing what you lot are doing. Resting. I like that. It's doing what you guys are doing, growing. All right. And only 10% of the time does it go through mitosis. All right, this is mitosis. Okay. So, mini mitosis quiz. All right. So, but before we do that, I want you to think about this. This is a 4 chromosomal organism. We have 23 chromosomes, 23 pairs, 46 in total. This one has got 2 chromosome, 4 pairs. 4 chromosome, 2 pairs. Let's get it right. So 2 pairs. We cannot draw a big one, especially in an exam. It's going to take up too much space. It's too confusing. So we use simpler versions. So this organism has, so if I was going to number this would be chromosome 1. Oh dear, that's far too big. Let's try again. Come on, Z. This would be chromosome 1. Come on, pen. Chromosome 1 from your, let's say, mama. Chromosome 1 from your papa. Chromosome 2 from your mama. And chromosome 2 from your papa. They can be anywhere. And I like this diagram because they are anywhere. So this is how they would be normally. You wouldn't see them because they wouldn't be condensed. They would just be grey. All right. But what happens is you need in every daughter cell, so I'm going to jump ahead, in every daughter cell, you need the same number of chromosomes. You can't suddenly lose any or have more. All right. So what happens is the first thing you got to do is replicate each chromosome. This is still 1 mama, 1 papa, 2 mama, 2 papa, maternal and paternal. I should use the words maternal, paternal, but I just mama, papa. All right. And actually, in your exam, it doesn't matter. If you say 1 from your mother and 1 from your father, or even now, I'm just going to be ridiculous. If you wrote chromosome 1 from mummy and chromosome 2 from daddy, we still give you the mark. All right. So this is the point at which replication happens. All right. Your cell has grown. This is where it's just being normal and growing. After it's finished growing, it replicates. And each chromosome is replicated. During mitosis, as a cool word, the chromosomes line up and then they separate. After that, the nucleus divides. That's mitosis. The nucleus divides. And right at the end, you have this really cool word. You don't have to use it, but I like it. It's the cytoplasm splits, the cell membrane, it's called cytokinesis. You don't have to use cytokinesis. I just like the sound of cytokinesis. Kinesis. Cytokinesis. Oh, I can't type. And this part here, this part where you can see the chromosomes and they line up and separate and the nucleus divides, that's called mitosis. So there's lots of different ways of representing this. Here's a lovely diagram of it in a circular way. These are flashcards. And these are 10 easy questions and 10 medium. I'm giving you hard questions yet on this. And I might not, because mitosis is a really tough one. We'll see how it goes. Anywho, 10 minutes of chatting is just too long by me, so I'm going to stop that. I am going to